All the Mods 10 has a lot of different mods. Some are very simple, and others not so much. But Mekanism, that has to be one of the most complicated mods in the entire pack. Okay, so as you guys know, we're very close to completing the All the Mods Star. There's a few ritual mods, and then a couple miscellaneous things, and we'll almost be there. And I say almost because I've left Mekanism and then Modern Industrialization, which I think are the most two difficult mods till now. And it actually looks like they've added a separate thing. So apparently instead of the uranium fuel rods, we could actually do a blaze burner. And then instead of the large advanced motor, we could do a mechanical arm because they've added crate. But I haven't played around with that very much, so that's not gonna be in this episode. We're gonna look at Mekanism because there's antimatter pellets, which is a whole process in itself. Then there's the gravitational modulating unit. That's a bit of a mouthful, which from face value doesn't look too bad. Just atomic alloy, nether stars, unobtainium blocks, and then ultimate induction providers. Okay, that's not looking too bad. Oh, lithium though. That's gonna be a little more complicated. And then there's the jetpack units, which require plutonium, refined glowstone, and so on. So this is a long process. And to keep things simple, I'm going to start with the ultimate induction provider, which means we need the lithium. And I'm pretty sure there's a few steps for this, from changing it from liquid lithium to the regular lithium. And for the liquid, we're going to need to put grain through a thermal evaporator. And then to get that, we need to put water through one of those chambers. So what do the thermal blocks require? Some bronze ingots, steel, and then a superheated element made with copper, redstone, and a steel casing. And seeing as we're going to need a lot of these, I'm going to craft up a pattern, and I'll craft up about 72 worth. It's probably not going to be enough, but it should be good to get us the controller, which I'll need 2 of. And then I believe I need 4 of these valves. However, I don't want this machine to be one big block. I kind of want to see inside it. So I'm going to make some structural glass. And then if I come on down to my farm area, just over in this corner, I've prepared a little section for these. And all we're going to do is build a little 4x4 at the bottom. And then I'm going to put the 4 pieces in each corner. And then I'm going to take my building gadget, shift right click on that block. And then if I open up the menu, I can do a vertical column up to 15. And if I right click on each one of these, it'll build all the way up, bringing them up to 17 blocks. However, the max structure is 18. So I'll throw an extra block just on the top. And then I'm actually going to surround this, being sure to leave that part open, as when I come to the bottom, I can place down a controller, one of the thermal valves, come around to this side, place a valve down there. And actually, I do need a 3rd valve on here. And then I can just take my structural glass and my building gadget once again and fill this all the way up. And so now if I just replace the controller, it'll do a little particle animation, which tells me it's ready to go. And then I could just build the same thing mirrored right there. There we go. I'm thinking I might actually move this valve over to the side here just so I can feed it down, because I built a little second level here, and then we can do the automation stuff here. But before we even get to that, we'll need to take the sink, pipe it directly in, which will instantly start filling up. And then for the product it creates, we're going to move it directly on over to this one. But obviously we're going to need to create some heat generation first. And that's where this restrictive heater comes into play. And we are going to need 2 of these. Then on the backside here, we're actually going to rotate the machines, place down the power. And then unfortunately, we can't use these universal pipes. We're going to need to create these conductor pipes, which are pretty simple, just requiring the previous tiers. And then we just place those going directly into each side. But unfortunately, this actually isn't generating enough temperature. So we're going to increase it to, I think, 1,000. And that will bring the temperature in the machine up. And then you can see the brine in the other machine is automatically going as well, turning it into the liquid lithium. But like I said earlier, I do believe I'm going to move this valve over to this side, because now I can pipe it on downwards. And if I create a chemical catalyzer, oh wait, no, we need to change it from the liquid form over to the straight lithium, which requires the rotary condensator, which I'm going to throw down there, configure the fluids for the top to be input. And then we need to flick this switch right here, I believe. and it'll automatically start creating the lithium. And we will obviously need to throw some upgrades in here as well, because that sound is just straight annoying. But I will throw this machine right underneath as well, and then the lithium will automatically start becoming the lithium dust, which I'll pipe right into an ender chest. Well, I hope I can pipe it directly into the ender chest. Yes, I can. Perfect. Well, I guess I could have fed that into the green ender chest. We could do a white one here too. And that will allow us to craft up the basic induction provider, which will allow us to get the ultimate induction provider. And then now we need to work on these module bases, which require these sheets, which come from putting the pellets through an enrichment chamber, which you get from substrate using oxygen and liquid ethane. I think that's what it's called. And that is where this area will come in handy, because I'm going to go for the ethane first, as when you go down the stages, you'll need some hydrogen, which is made with water, but also has a byproduct of oxygen, which means we're just going to place down another sink, a separator, piping over the water, creating our hydrogen and oxygen. And seeing as the oxygen is going to be needed in the last step, we're going to come over to the chemicals tab and then output to the bottom number 2. As I'm actually going to create an ender tank, coloring all of these to light blue, placing that down right there, changing this front dial with a right click to input. Wait, that's only for liquids, not for gases. Okay, so I guess we'll just leave that there for later. Then I'll just chuck a pressurized reaction chamber on top, and then the chemicals tab, making that output 1. So all the hydrogen goes into here, and then we feed water into the other part, which only leaves us with the biofuel. Created through a crusher with any of the nature things, and seeing as we have the ability to autocraft apples, I do believe that is what we will crush down. And at some point, I will automate that with a pattern provider, but for now, I'm just going to leave it as is, and I'll just chuck the biofuel in to create our next step. However, we can't forget we need to transform it into the liquid ethane. I may have done this on a live stream and totally lost my mind forgetting about this step. So don't forget about the condensator, or none of this will work the way you're wanting it to. I really don't like how much noise these machines make. I really don't. But now we're on to this step, which just uses another pressurized reaction chamber. So coming in from the top, I'm going to have the liquid ethylene, meaning we'll need the fluids tab, with the bottom being output, and then coming in from the left, we go over to the chemical tab and the left being input. And with both of those now flowing into the reaction chamber, we're just going to need to move the substrate over on down. However, I don't want ugly pipes moving everything over. So I'm going to use a modular router, and I'm just going to tuck that down underneath just so we're not staring at it all the time. So select you, making sure we're on the items tab, and the front we're going to change to output. And then on the opposite machine, we have the front as input, making sure we whitelist our items. And then we just throw both of these distributor modules in with some speed and stack upgrades. So why aren't you doing your thing? Oh, not enough energy to operate. We need to put our power down. I hope we're not going to run into the issue of having too much oxygen, because we already have more oxygen here than we do ethane. Well, if we do, there is a simple way to fix that, but we'll just leave it for now. As we do now have the pellets that we will auto input into an ender chest. Now I'll just come over to the enrichment chamber and put all of our pellets in. So now we should be able to create our module base, and we need to remember to create patterns for all of this. And then I believe this jetpack isn't going to be too difficult, but the refined glowstone. Oh, you just put that in an osmium compressor. Do I have one of those over here? Yes, I do. So I'll just craft up a few of those. And then it's for the plutonium pellets. And this is where it gets complicated again, because we need fluorite dust, which is just created with fluorite through a crusher. Again, I hope I'm saying that correctly, which we've apparently found throughout the overworld as we've been mining. So that's not that bad. Water's easy enough, but the plutonium itself, this is getting a little more complicated, because we need nuclear waste put through a solar neutron activator, but you can only get the waste through a fusion reactor, which means I'm going to need reactor casing, a couple ports, not exactly sure how many, so I'll just grab 4, some logic adapters, and I'm going to take 5 of these, and then we're going to do some reactor glass. But we'll need enriched iron for that, which means we're going to need to put carbon and iron ingots through one of our metallurgic infusers. And to get 10 MB of carbon, it's just a piece of coal. And in our advanced pattern encoder, we're going to have the iron targeting the adjacent face, but the coal coming in from the west. And that's just so we can put the item directly into this pattern encoder and everything will feed to its correct side, giving me my glass and now allowing me to build up my reactor as a 7x7, going 18 blocks tall, adding a couple of reactor ports to the back, and then one to each side, then building all the way up with the glass. And then once we get to the top at the front here, I'm going to place the logic adapters in right here with one being offset downwards, because I'm going to need to build a NOT gate and some red alloy wire. And I'm not exactly sure where we made the redstone alloy, but apparently we have. And it shows us a little preset. I do believe we want the active bit of redstone going downwards. That's because if we go ahead and put all the redstone alloy down, once I completely enclose the reactor, oh wait, no, we forgot about the interior stuff. We'll need some fuel rod assemblies and then a couple of control rod assemblies. And with the fuel rods, we'll just do a little grid pattern on the inside, and using our building gadget, we'll build all the way up. However, at the top here, we want to take this top layer off because this is where our control rods go. They don't actually go aligned with the top rim here. All we do there is just enclose it. And so finally, if we place this last block down, our reactor activates. And this is where we can go into our logic adapters, and we can select in this bottom one, activation. Activate the reactor when powered and deactivate it when unpowered. And we do that because of this NOT gate. We have it set to automatically be giving power. And that's important because in each one of these other logic adapters, we have one for high temperature, critical waste level, damage critical, and insufficient fuel. And so for example, insufficient fuel, we have nothing in there. So it sends a redstone signal, which shut this off right here, deactivating our reactor. Because if you didn't know, these things can blow up. And that would really not be good for our base here. Then in one of the back valves, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my sink down, connect a pipe up to it, and this will slowly start filling up with water. I say slowly, it's actually doing it pretty quick. However, now we need the fuel, which we haven't done yet, and that would be fizzle fuel. We'll need some uranium hexafluoride, which needs uranium oxide and hydrofluoric acid, which the uranium oxide isn't that bad to get, just some yellow cake uranium, which is uranium put through an enrichment chamber. And thankfully we do have a seed for that, which means we can set our system to keep 100 of that stocked at all times, which is important because we're going to be fully exporting that out of the system automatically, and we don't want to run out of that. So coming back down to this area, all I should have to do is place this chemical oxidizer down, and then right underneath place down an export bus, making sure we export the yellow cake uranium, and the bottom should just be an import. And obviously we can't forget to find that guy. And then now we need to move on to the hydrofluoric acid, which is made with the fluorite and sulfuric acid, which I don't really know how to do the item to chemical thing. So I think I might just go with sulfur trioxide and water vapor, which is just oxygen, and sulfur dioxide, which is the liquid version, which is just sulfur through a chemical oxidizer. So just another export bus, and we'll connect this cable up into that wireless connector there and export the sulfur. But before we do the oxygen, I want to transfer the dioxide into a chemical infuser, as this is just going to help my brain set these things up correctly. And then we're going to need another one of these machines put down right there. Then from the back, yet again, having more water imported, and there's our oxygen. And then if we configure the left side to output 2, this machine will start making our sulfur trioxide. And then if we go to the top and put output 1, we can throw a rotary condensator on top, which will convert all our hydrogen to liquid hydrogen that I could just output into the back into a fluid trash can. So we're halfway done the sulfuric acid. Now we just need the water vapor, which just means yet another sink, another rotary condensator with the mode flipped around, creating the vapor, which means we just need one more chemical infuser with the vapor transporting directly in. And then if we come on across, if I break the log right below, I should be able to take some pressurized tubes and transport it directly on over. And with that step now done, we move to the hydrofluoric acid. Finally. And I don't think we've built this machine before. And with the acid directly going in, I will yet again come down below, break this block, do another exporter, this time being fluorite. I still hope I'm saying that correctly. And then we'll just pull off this pipe over here. And with that now automated, we're on to the uranium hexafluoride. And we have the oxide done with the hydrofluoric acid right there. I can yet again, never mind, not yet again. Can't access that from the bottom. Actually, I can just reroute these pipes and access it from the bottom. With this coming up the back, get out of my way, power. If I configure the bottom to be output and this bottom to be import 1, I should then be able to chuck this pipe here and then configure the left side to be input 2. And that's our uranium hexafluoride. Just need to speed this up a bit. Then it's just one last machine put down right there with the left side being input, which makes our fissile fuel. Okay, and you're a bit loud. And I wonder, can I use these ender tanks to transport the fuel? Be really nice if I could. Oh, it's not looking like it. Well, that's slightly disappointing. I guess I'll just be running a pipe from the back of our reactor all the way over here. But I don't want to see it, so we're going a few blocks lower. And so let's just place this last piece down, and that is awfully loud. But it's getting fuel and coolant, creating a very small amount of nuclear waste, and eventually it will create some coolant. But I do want to make this machine quieter, so we're just going to get a fusion reactor. We're just going to silence that sound there. It's working. Can almost take that somewhere. But there we go. As you can see, we're building up coolant quite quickly, and that is not a good thing. So I want to shut that off for now until we can deal with this. And I think I'm just going to dig underneath the machine right here because I don't really need a big area for it. I just need to turn it into the liquid steam through one of our rotary concentrators. Once again, I don't think I can use this pipe for it. And can I actually change this? Yes, I can. Output coolant. There we go. So is it being outputted? No, it is not. Okay, that pipe doesn't work like I thought. We'll just grab 2 more of these pipes, and that should pull it out nicely. I'm beginning to understand why they said Mekanism is one of the more difficult mods. Well, not really difficult, just annoying. It's a lot of the same stuff over and over again. And output. What the heck? You're a liquid. Oh, wrong button. Output. Goodbye. Into the trash can. I don't have to deal with that anymore. And that's the coolant all gone. Now to transport the nuclear waste. I doubt this will work again, but I'm still gonna try. It didn't work. So we just piped it all the way on over here, and we'll just deal with it in the solar neutron activator. And I had to build a whole new area for this because this machine needs access to the sunlight. And it automatically converted everything to plutonium faster than I was able to look. And now with that being said, we need to transform it into the plutonium pellets using fluorite. I feel like I'm saying that different every single time, which will need a pressurized reaction chamber for, having the left being input with the back being another input for water. So I'm hoping this will transform the nuclear waste fast enough so our reactor here doesn't back up. But there's only one way to find out, so let's activate it up. And you are draining water way too quickly. Dang. Maybe let's lower this rate to 0 for now. And clearly this pipe is not going to be enough. And we have one last option. And that solution is going to require a logic cable, made pretty easily, a fluid interface, and a fluid exporter. Because all I should have to do is place the cable right there, the interface, I believe right here, and the exporter right there. And if I go into this exporter, you can see export all fluids. I want to go into the properties of this, move on over to the fluid transfer rate, and I want to make this number as big as possible. And if I go back to this menu and I take one variable card, chuck that in, this instantly fills up. So that should be that problem solved. So now if we activate this thing, maybe if the damage goes down a little bit more, I think it'll go down on its own. I mean, we have it on right now. And I think now I can go ahead and set the rate to 150. We do have a lot of coolant building up though. We might need to fix this. Okay, let's put a pause on that again. Bug testing. It's great. This is slowly going down. However, it's definitely not going fast enough. I think that's maybe why most people do the turbine. Well, I was really hoping to avoid that. Okay, well, I don't think I have a choice. Let's clear out an area. All right. What do we need for this turbine stuff? I'm going to say a decent amount of casings, some turbine blades, a few rotors, one rotational complex, 2 coils, some pressure dispersers. I think I'll grab 4 valves, quite a few vents, and a few saturating condensers. That's probably too much. Oh, and don't forget the structural glass. Okay, let's build this thing. We're going to do a 5x5, and we're going to build 9 blocks up. We'll need to place the 5 rotors in the middle. On top of that, with the rotational complex, the 2 coils, then I believe this all gets surrounded with the saturated condensers, and I think these transform everything to water. Oh wait, nope, these go on top here. And this bottom layer comes apart, and we put some pressure dispersers. And then we'll need all the vents surrounding that stuff, and then the vents across the top as well. But where we're going to have the steam coming in, I'm actually just going to throw a valve, and then on the opposite side, we're going to throw down another valve. Then I believe from there, we just keep right-clicking this, throwing all our rotors, or blades, and then we should just be able to seal this guy up. There we go. Okay, so come here, trash can. Get out of my way, you thing. And let's move all the steam down into our reactor, or turbine. Oh, and you've already activated. I don't know if I have this set up properly. And I do believe I want to have this set to water will not be recycled. And that went through the steam kind of quickly. So when I activate this guy, and actually, I don't know if I'm ready to activate this guy, because I believe I actually need to put this ender cell down and then select it to tier 2 and throw a couple energy cells in. So that will pull out all of our power. And so now I believe I can activate our system. The rotor will start going, and it will stay kind of consistent with the steam by the looks of it. And we're generating 1 million FE a tick. Yeah, that's filling up nicely. Slight problem though. Once this fills up, we have nowhere for the power to go. Thankfully, we do have a solution for that. And that would be this 250 million MEFE storage cell, which I don't even want to get into how expensive this thing is. It just keeps going. But thankfully, we can afford it. And for now, I'll just chuck it into here. And then you can see the energy show up right there. And we have 82 million because it charged in my inventory. But I don't want to always have to go into our system to see how much power we have available. So I want to make this ME throughput monitor. And we're just going to chuck it right up here. And then all we have to do is grab something that uses power, right click on there twice. And the amount of power we have coming in and going out will show up on there. But now to solve the problem in its entirety, we'll just need to grab our cell workbench. We take out our energy cell, craft ourselves up an overflow of destruction card, seeing as energy is the only thing that goes into this. As long as we have this card in here, anything above the total amount of energy able to be stored in there will get voided. But that means this entire setup needs to get put directly into the machine. So I'm going to need some flux accessors, which just requires the block version made with an energy acceptor and some energy processors made with printed energy circuits made out of charged redstone crystal blocks. And if I am correct, I can just break all of these cables because I'm going to put accessors on each side, but that'll be the full 8 channels, I believe. Actually, I wonder, can we place the bigger cable down within here? No, we can't. So it's going to have to be the small ones, meaning this center line of the generators will have to come down. And unfortunately, we can't just place blocks down with this soul lava here. So we're going to have to quickly scoop it up and then place down a block before the other bit needs to flow out. So 1, 2, come on. You know, we might just need to replace all the soul lava here. That's not that big of a deal. Okay, now we can place this down, put you there, then connect it up. There we go. So now we come back to our system. We're gaining 64 million a second, but this actually isn't getting any power anymore. So our system is dwindling and we need to make a setup for this, and nothing in our inventory should be getting charged either. Well, actually that has 2 billion FE stored in it. So it probably will be getting power for now. But we need a new room. Actually, I think this area might be okay. So let's just chuck that down there. And then we could do multiple ender cells here. One, and then we can go here, have this and set it to all extract. Actually, I think I might want to move this forward one more, because if I run a cable off this guy, I should then be able to throw that down there. And I don't know why you're draining. Maybe this needs to be set to receive. Oh yeah, receive. Okay. And then we can come to our reactor, pick this guy up, throw one of those flux accessors on there, along with a wireless connector, our cable. And then once we have this thrown down and connected, I can now throw this energy cell down, connect that up, and switch it to number 2. And then making sure that's on receive as well. And that'll make it so the energy is instantly being drained out, allowing our system to keep going when it has enough fuel. Okay, that was a process I was not expecting to have to do. But now to the thing I was expecting, setting up this guy. We now just need to force in the fluorite dust, and we'll do that just like we did all the other things, which will make our plutonium pellets. And to get rid of the spent nuclear waste, I want to try a trash can. You can't eject the output, huh? Why can't that be ejected? Yeah, it might be a chemical. Don't think it'll work? Yeah, no. Well, that's fine. We'll just pull it out through the top, then feed it down through the back into a whole bunch of these radioactive waste barrels. Because once it gets fully pulled out, it'll go into the barrels where you can see it actually decays 2 megabytes every 10 ticks. So I'm just going to create a whole lot of these, and we shouldn't run into any issues. So there is our plutonium pellets. That took way too long. But that is the jetpack unit and the gravitation module. And that's just one part of Mekanism. Now for part 2. I really hope this doesn't hurt as much. What do we need for the antimatter? Okay, we need antimatter, which you get from a supercritical phase shifter. All right, what does this require? Plutonium, control circuits, copper, and a laser. Now for the SPS port, some SPS casing and control circuits. Casings, please don't be that bad. Sheets, plutonium, and what is this? Please don't be difficult. And that's a different liquid than what we used before, but it still comes from nuclear waste, just in an isotopic centrifuge. Okay, that's not too bad. The only problem I can see us running into is not having enough nuclear waste. Oh, no, never mind. We got about 9 million in there. We're good. Ta-da! So now I'll just want to feed this out the back. I want to be careful that these two pipes don't join together. So I want to change that to an output so it fills up right now and they don't join together. I really don't know why this is taking so long to break, but whatever, that's fine. Feed it down, then all around the back. Actually, I guess I could have just fed it like that. No. No, 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 no. Wrench. There we go. Voila. So that's going straight into there. You probably need water, don't you? Yeah, you do need water. Okay. So I'll just bring this up one and over. Whoa, what is happening? What is happening? I hear a radiation sound. I literally just connected the water. I don't think these plutonium pellets have to do with it. This all blue stuff started happening when I just reran that pipe and broke a pipe down here. And of course I didn't hit the record button. So, I don't know what is happening. And I don't know how to get this to stop. Maybe a hazmat suit? Gimme, please. This is not doing anything for me. What is happening? That was painful. There was literally nothing I could do. I just had to wait for this entire area just to stop being radioactive, which can take a few days. But this is all done, set up. I don't think I have to worry about this. I'm really hoping. But I do have the hazmat suit for the future, just in case. Back to making these casings. And then 3 ports. I really hope this isn't gonna be too difficult, but there's only one way to find out. So we need to build a 5x5, but leaving the corners off, because once you surround that with the SPS casings, you will then need to build the exact same thing going up. And I seriously underestimated how much room this would take. But once we have all the other blocks placed down, we just need to put down a couple ports, and I don't think it really matters where. However, with this port up here, I'm going to need to put an energy cell right there because the Ender gate only transfers 1 million FE a tick. However, the Ender cell transfers 2 million FE a tick. And we definitely need to regulate this machine. Otherwise, it will burn through our power like crazy. So throwing this up top there, I'm going to change that to number 2, as this is going to be the only machine on that network, placing down the port and then the supercharged coil. And after we seal this off, what am I missing here? I don't think I'm missing any blocks. No, seriously, what am I missing? Oh, a little pillar of SPS casings. Okay, let's fill that in. And there we go. Now it's ready. Seeing as we have this thing fully, that's not centered. Yeah, that seems about right for this episode. I'll fix that later. But seeing as we have all those casings done, we can now shut off this machine. And I can also shut off this one so that all our nuclear waste can actually be fed all the way up into these neutron activators that do need a direct line of sight to the sky. I wonder if glass can be in the way. Yeah, I don't know. But let's just make sure no mobs can fall down these holes. And then I do believe the stuff coming out from that gets fed directly into the system. And with those activating, we're starting to create some antimatter. Well, until we run out of nuclear waste. Because this thing is constantly running out of fuel. So upgrades are needed. But first, to create the chemical catalyzer, that will just get placed down right there. And then we just need to right click on that, making it the output, and the antimatter will flow its way in. But now to figure out why you're not making any fuel. You are completely empty. So we're short on you, meaning we're short on the sulfuric acid, which goes into this machine, which comes back directly to the sulfur. Well, at least I believe that's an easy fix, because I can just feed a tube into here, and then right on top, I could place down 3 more chemical oxidizers, and then I could feed in sulfur on each one of these, which means you're now going a lot faster, which is speeding up this process in terms of speeding up that one, and making our fizzle fuel. I might need to multiply that one more time. Ah, yes, there we go. Plenty of fuel, which means plenty of waste, but you're not running. Let me guess, it's nighttime out. Yep. Well, let's solve that issue. Let me grab 2 pedestals, a couple activator modules, 2 pulse gates, 1 regular repeater, a daylight detector, and tablets of sunrise. Make sure to grab quite a few of those. Because if I go outside now and I place down 2 modular routers with the pulse gates going into them, a pedestal, I guess I only needed 1, and have it click going front, we can throw those in there with the tablet of sunrise. And then in this one, just the activator. And on the one that doesn't have the tablets, we're going to put 1 repeater, our daylight detector, right click so it senses night, and just a little bit of redstone going in. Make sure these repeaters are set to pulse. And so if it's nighttime, did I put these backwards? No, I did not. Oh wait, no, I'm just dumb. It's a ritual brazier we need, not a pedestal. So chuck that back in there. And once it comes nighttime, that'll activate and instantly become day. We'll just have to top this up every now and then. However, with that, we got ourselves some antimatter, which means Mekanism is done and we are that much closer to the ATM star. Well, that might be a problem, but that's going to have to be a problem for next episode. So if you guys did enjoy, please like, subscribe, hit the little notification bell to be notified every single time I upload. Also, join my Discord down in the description below. I do live streams. All my videos and shorts get posted in there. And also, I sit in there and talk sometimes. So if you guys want to chat with me or not miss any other content in the future, make sure to join there. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.